This is freaking crazy. What the hell is happening? What the hell just happened today? What's happening? Myles Garrett is now the highest paid non-quarterback in the league. He's not going anywhere. How do we... What... What the hell happened this weekend, chat? What just happened? It can't just be money talks. I get the money talks. Like, more 40 million per, you ain't turning it down. But it's something bigger than that. It's got to be something bigger than that. What quarterback is on his way to Cleveland? That's the real question. What quarterback is on the way to Cleveland? That's my question. Like, because you don't just go from you don't go from Radio Row to I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get out of Cleveland to wanting to meet with the owner to all of these different things. You don't go from all of these different things to being like, you know what? Yeah, I'll sign a 4-year extension, 40 million per. Is this, if it's not a quarterback on the way, maybe it's another leverage tactic to trade, but even then that doesn't make sense. Right? I mean, it makes sense literally. Like, would it make sense? Because now you know as a team what you're going to pay him, what the extension already is going to be. But no, I'm so confused right now. But if it was it can't just, I don't want to just believe that it's a money grab thing. Is there a no trade clause in it? I don't know. There is a no trade clause. Okay, so does anyone have the details of the contract yet? Has Adam Schefter or anyone came out with the details of the contract? I'm going to go to his page right now. I know it's a 4-year deal, 40 million per. I already know that. The Browns make it clear they weren't trading Myles and they never wavered from their stance. No player in NFL has more said, okay, we get that. He's under contract in Cleveland for the next 6 years. This is Adam Schefter report. The contract also includes a no-trade clause and ties Garrett to the Browns through the 2030 season, according to sources, meaning the 4-time All-Pros path to Cleveland can is back on. The sides agreed to the deal 2 days after reports circulated that Browns owner recently declined. This is so weird. Like, it doesn't make sense. And I get people are gonna say, oh, it was a money grab. It was this. It would make more sense if it was a money grab if he didn't have the stance that he has been having since the letter came out. That's why I can't buy into it was a money grab thing. There's more to it. So yeah, he's not leaving. He's here until 2030, which means you've got 5 years. You've got 6 years to prove to Myles Garrett that he should finish his career in Cleveland. Which he has a no trade clause anyway, so sending him off to the so let's just go through the loop, right? Let's just go through all the hypotheticals. Let's just say that this was one of the trade tactics to where it's like, okay, we have your money, you have the market set now, we know what you're getting paid. Now we can try to work a trade. That X's out any team that's poverty. Any team that we were like, send his ass to Jacksonville, that's gone. Because at this point he has the no trade clause. He could say, no, I'm not waiving my no trade clause to this. So that's out the window. If you want to run with it's a money grab thing, fine. Whatever. You can run with that. But he's made it clear he wants to win. I think this means there is a quarterback on the way. Joey Bosa, Emac, the defensive... You got plays at the defense. See, this does a lot now. This shifts a lot of things. Now it shows us, okay, well, we were sitting in this camp where it was like, why would anyone want to come back to Cleveland? Because your best player and the future Hall of Famer wants out. But now, not only did he get the bag, which is back on the table for player. Well, I mean, damn, how does this affect the cap? You gotta excuse me. I'm spitballing right now. I'm kind of just spitballing right now. They told him something we don't know. There's something going on that we don't know about. Something that hasn't been leaked. Speculations that haven't been leaked. There is something going on behind closed doors that we do not know about. And it has to surround the quarterback position. It has to. He had to have signed off on whatever quarterback that they're about to be getting. Check Insta. What's on Insta? I can't check. Wait, I can't check, actually. What am I supposed to be checking on Instagram? You can't really afford anyone else now. The cap, that it's a myth. The Browns will dish out what they need to dish out. And if it was just about, see, this is why I can't believe that it's just about money, because he wouldn't have went about it the way that he did it. He wouldn't have put his relationships with the fans in jeopardy the way that he did. He wouldn't go on Radio Row talking about he'll do anything he can to get out of here. It's Myles Garrett. We were gonna pay him the bag regardless. He was gonna get the bag regardless. That's why that's just not computing in my brain. Well, he just wanted more bread. No, that's not. That's not. You wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have dragged your name through the mud. He was going to get the bag no matter what. This is weird. I'm ready to see what happens after this. Abdul Carter's out the window now. They are going quarterback at 2. Do you think it's a little bit much? Not if you're trying to win now. And see, this is the other thing that I don't understand. He banged on the table, he doubled down on it and tripled down on that our vision just didn't align. Well, what the hell made that align now? Don't give me it was the $40 million per. Because he was going to get paid no matter what. Like, he was going to get paid no matter what. Even if it was $35 million, $5 million isn't going to alter him saying, okay, let's just do it. Y'all acting as if he was going to get $20 million per and $70 million guaranteed. He was going to get close to $40 million no matter if it was a money grab or not. So, exactly, there you go. He's forced them into a win now mentality. Maybe he was playing a bigger chess game. Maybe he knows something that we don't know. But what would the meeting to Jimmy Haslam be for? That's the other piece to the puzzle that we got to figure this out. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter now. We don't have to figure it out. Why did he want to meet with Jimmy Haslam? That's the other $1 million question. Think he wants to buy a part of the team? I don't think that's on his mind. Maybe they had an interview with Joe Thomas and Bernie talked him into staying. I doubt it. You still have the Watson contract. They don't care about that anymore. He'll just sit if he wants to leave. You're not sit. See, this is where people are understanding. You're not signing this contract and then sitting. Yeah, and no trade clause. Watson is long. Shador Sanders. I want to know what quarterback they signed off on. It has to be. But see, it has to be more. No, it has to be more than a rookie quarterback, bro. Is Joe Flacco coming back? Because I think we all know how much the team loved JoJo. It would be pennies on the dollar. It would be a bridge. And then you get to let your rookie quarterback sit. He had to have signed off on one of these quarterbacks that are coming in free agency. It can't be Carson Wentz. You can't tell me that they were like, yeah, Carson Wentz is gonna make me stay. Could it be A-Rod? Maybe. Gardner Minshew's not gonna make Myles Garrett come back. Kirk Cousins isn't gonna make Myles Garrett come back. There has to be. This is very interesting. Now that this domino has fell, I think the draft becomes a little bit more clear. I think free agency becomes a little bit more clear. Justin Fields isn't going to make him come back. The only reason why I say Joe Flacco is because you know what you can get with Flacco. You know it. And everyone likes to go back. Well, the last thing that I remember was the 2 interceptions in Houston. We've had players come out. I had a player on the podcast tell us that it was a bad game. But what he did for the locker room and him not coming back was shocking. Whatever veteran quarterback we are signing, Myles Garrett knows about it. He knows about it. And it's been and whether you like the organization and where they stand, Baker or Haslam, Barry, and Stefanski, the one thing that this organization has always done has made you look at this hand and not let you know what's in this hand. They don't let stuff leak out. They don't. Everything that has been coming out has all been speculation, has all been stuff from sources. None of it has been true. We were convinced Myles Garrett was gone because of the sources, because of all the reporters coming out saying the bridge is burning, this and this and this, myself included. We were all bamboozled. They know stuff that we don't. And maybe we're seeing, maybe we have to read the gray areas and in between the lines. We always talk about, and I don't, I try to stay away from the whole thing. It was the, we've always wanted Jimmy Haslam to stay out of the mix. He told him to go to Barry. Maybe Haslam isn't as involved this year as we have been thinking. Maybe this is the year where Andrew Barry, Kevin Stefanski, and the guys that he hired finally have a full go at this. Maybe they truly have the power that we all wanted them to have this year. But here's the other thing, though. Oh, I don't know. Stuff just say add. Usually I'm good at putting this stuff together, but my big ass forehead can't put it together. Max, do you want to hop on? You want to hop on live, bro? You want to get on Honor the Land and go live, or you busy right now? Because I need some of your explanation. Maybe you can help me figure this out. Now that's what everybody's gonna say. Don't flip flop now. You wanted Myles gone. I wanted the fiasco to be over. That's what I wanted. I wanted the fiasco to be over. And it's over. Now we move forward. Now we know what our future looks like. I just want to know. I don't know, man. This is crazy. This is actually crazy. Signage, see, that's the other thing that I'm thinking of. But it doesn't give the Browns any leverage in that sense. If anything, that takes away the leverage. Because now he has a no trade clause. Let me see. Oh, accept. Oh, damn. Wait. There you go.
Can you hear me, Zay?
Yeah, I can hear
I don't
you.
know why my picture's not working. Hold up. Oh, wait. There we go. You got me?
This is Yeah, I can hear you, but I don't see you.
Hold on. There we go.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Oh wait, hold on. How the hell did I just do that?
You got me now, though?
Yep, I can see you.
I
How
genuinely
do I
can't
just
believe this.
I'm so confused right now because we've been bamboozled.
I, I don't know. Like, do you think this was like a money play?
See, I was just telling Chad about that. It doesn't If it was a money play, why would he tarnish his name? Why would he drag his name through the loophole that is the fans and having a divide and all of this other stuff? Like he was gonna get paid regardless, whether it was 40 million or 35 or 30 million per. I don't think $5 or $10 million is gonna put him in that boat where it's like, okay, this extra 5 million, let's do it. This extra
Yeah,
10 million, let's do it. Like he was gonna get paid no matter what.
I know. I I wonder if like and my mind just keeps going back to the Max Crosby contract. Like, was that so big and so important that in his eyes that he wanted to be paid higher than Max Crosby? Because like we've seen it with T.J. Watt, which I think is a different thing because it's a division rival and everything like that. But like he's made it known to the public, like I'm the number one edge rusher in the face of TJ Watt. Like I am the number one edge rusher with that game on Thursday night. He's so competitive to the point that he may have wanted that. And it could have just been, I don't think it's like black and white. It could have been a combination of that as well as the gray area of him realizing as time goes on, like this ownership, the Andrew Barry, like everybody was saying, we're not trading you. We're not even going to meet with you. And then he realized maybe it's not in my best interest just to sit out. And then he just came around, and now he has the opportunity. He's getting $40 million a year. He's the highest paid non-quarterback, really, until Jamar Chase.
123 guaranteed.
Yeah, no trade clause too. I'm sure that was a big part of it. Like, I think it's a mix of things. I don't think it's like black and white in terms of like what happened. It's definitely a mix of things.
I think that they know who they want to get in their free agency at quarterback. I think because it just, I'm standing on, like, to a sense, we have to believe what the player is telling us. He put out the letter. He went on Radio Row. He doubled and tripled down on it, saying that we weren't on the line, that he wants to compete now.
Yep.
What changed from the letter to now that makes you think that we are going to compete now? That has one thing and one thing only: quarterback.
Yeah.
You compete with the quarterback. And a rookie quarterback, you're talking about trying to catch lightning in a bottle like what Jaden Daniels did. Is there a quarterback in the draft that you think can do that? I think it has to do with whatever quarterback that they're signing in free agency that is like, okay, this is a competitive move for us to compete right now.
Yeah, and I think It's tough to judge if there's lightning in a bottle and a quarterback in the draft. It depends on the situation and a bunch of other things. But I think like it has to be Aaron Rodgers or Sam Darnold. It has to be one of those two. There's no other quarterback unless they think they can trade for somebody, and I don't think that is completely out the window. I've heard Kyler's name shot like thrown around. I don't think the Cardinals are going to trade him, but there are other quarterbacks. We saw Geno Smith, who's top half of the NFL quarterback last season. All of a sudden, he gets traded because he's on the last year of his deal, and Seattle maybe wants to go in a different direction. Like there could be quarterbacks across the league that the Browns believe in. They feel like they could make a trade for. I wonder if something will happen quick because
It has to.
they're going to want to go into free agency with, like, if they're going to trade for a quarterback, they're going to want to figure that out before they go into free agency. So my guess is it would happen pretty quick. But if they don't,
But if we're talking about trading for a quarterback, are you trading the second overall pick? Are you trading the first round and the second pick? Like, I just don't get the trading for a quarterback aspect because if you're trying to compete now, this is a beautiful draft. Unless they have their eyes on players that they think can come in, be starters day one, have an impact, and they collect multiple assets. But I feel like if you're trading for what quarterback are you trading for? Does Darnold really move the needle for Myles Garrett?
I personally, I wouldn't think so, which makes me think it was more of a money thing than anything else. I see a couple people say Justin Fields too. Like maybe they feel really strongly about Justin Fields and what he can offer. If they traded for a quarterback, like I find it so hard to believe that they would trade the second pick or like a first round pick swap to do that. Like this is their first round pick in what 3, 4, however many years. Like they're not gonna. I don't think at least they're going to include the second overall pick, but you never know because if they really like the one that keeps sticking out to me is Kyler Murray. Like his name's been thrown around. I don't think he's like on the trade block. Like I don't think that's a real thing. But we'd be fooling ourselves if we didn't think he was a borderline elite quarterback. He's definitely top half of the NFL quarterback, and has shown he can win with less around him in the past. So like that would be the only guy. I'm trying to think of anybody else that could potentially get moved. That's really the only guy in my mind. I mean, J.J. McCarthy potentially, but like if the Vikings are reportedly just moving on from Sam Darnold, and that's what everybody's said the past like 48 hours. Now it's like J.J. McCarthy plus a veteran or plus a bridge guy in Minnesota. That's the direction they're going to go. So I think it's Darnold. Like I think it's either Darnold or you feel really strongly about Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams coming with him.
Ooh,
Because that is like that as a 1 year type thing. I could see that. If you told Myles Garrett now they can't legally talk to Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams right now, like that's against the rules and they get penalized and lose draft picks if they did that. But like if you're under the assumption that you can bring Rodgers and Devontae in, all of a sudden you're a borderline playoff team. That's the reality. I think so at least. But
so Mary Kay just tweeted out, Myles Garrett agent Nicole Lynn tells me Myles had a change of heart, excited to. This is the quote. Myles Garrett had a change of heart, excited to go from Cleveland to Canton, chase championship in Ohio. So over the last 36 hours, this deal, they've been working on a deal, according to the report from Mary Kay. Now, my question is, if we're looking at the Kyler Murray route, does the Geno Smith trade have anything to do with that in a sense of a lot of people, I think, have Geno Smith ranked higher than so he was the 10th ranked quarterback this past year according to NFL.com, and Kyler Murray was sitting at the 15th ranked quarterback. What would the trade package look like if you were to bring in a Kyler Murray? Because if you're getting a third for Geno, I would imagine it would be you're not talking about a first round pick. You may not even be talking about a second round pick, right?
my guess is it'd be somewhat the same. Kyler's younger too. He's younger. Truthfully, I think Kyler is a better player than Geno. I know rankings are always subjective. I truthfully think Kyler's is better, but it's very, very similar in terms of their skill set and what they can offer. So, like, it would probably be around the same. And the Browns have a lot of mid-round picks. They've accumulated a lot of picks from the past couple of years. And the reality is, I think, like, if you could acquire Kyler Murray, it would be him or Sam Darnold in terms of stepping in and being the best quarterback you can go win your week one game with. it would be between those two, at least in my mind. Unless you feel really confidently about a rookie quarterback. And who the Browns seem to like somebody. I don't know if they're going to move up to one. Truthfully, I think the Giants are going to leapfrog them and take Cam Ward. We'll see what happens, but I don't know. Like I don't know.
I think this poses another question. I feel like this puts a wrench in what they want to do in the draft. Like, as much as we are so hell bent on them taking a quarterback in the first round, if Myles Garrett had a change of, I'm just going off what Myles told us. He wants to win now. The odds of a rookie quarterback coming in and having you a chance to win a Super Bowl right off the back, it just does not happen.
No,
So, like, do they go? This almost goes right back into what I originally thought they would do months ago, which is trade back.
yeah. I
It
mean,
almost has trade back written on it.
they could, but at the same time, like now you're Myles Garrett under contract for 6 years. Like you're giving yourself the 6 year window. From what I've seen, at least, there's no like opt outs. He has the no trade clause if they want to move on from him. Maybe this thing happens again down the line. Let's hope not. But like, I still think they draft a quarterback. I still think if they are genuinely infatuated by one of these guys or both the top two guys, that opportunity doesn't come around often, especially because I think a lot of us can realize and agree that the Browns roster, the team they have right now on paper, is better than 3-14. I don't know if it's a playoff team. I don't think anybody will pound the table saying what we have now is a playoff team, but I think we would be fooling ourselves to say it's a 3-14 team. Like the talent on paper is should be 7, 8, 9 wins. That's the reality of it. I don't think they're going to wind up picking again in the top 10 in the next couple of years. They're not going to have another opportunity to get a rookie quarterback, a young quarterback who they really like for the next couple of years. I don't think that opportunity is going to be there. So I think if it's there now, you just do it. You don't draft for need. And plus, when you're looking at the need, like Abdul Carter, they're not going to take Abdul Carter at number 2. Travis Hunter, unless you feel like so strongly about him as a wide receiver, probably not going to take him at 2. So it's either quarterback or, like you said, trade down. But then who do you get when you trade down? Like, do you try to get a tackle? Like, what would be the main point in that? Getting another first-round pick down the line? Like,
No, but see, this is where it goes back to they know what quarterback they want. Because if you trade down, see, here's the scenario that I have. This goes back to the 2017 draft. Ironically, the draft where Myles Garrett went number 1 overall to the Browns. If they know what quarterback that they want, they are going to trade down 100%. Which means you'll still have your first round pick. You'll have the trade down pick. They have, which would probably get them another second round pick this year. And what we could see is they traded up to get Jabril Peppers. They traded back in to get David Njoku. They must have their eyes on at least 2 players that they think can have a drastic impact on this team this year. And seeing as though Geno Smith and the Raiders are probably out of the equation, the Jets come into mind. They have the 40, I think it was the 40, what am I looking at? The 42nd pick. So you'll get their 7th and the 42nd pick, which would give you ammunition to either trade the 42nd pick back into the first round or your 33rd and trade back into the first round. They're going to take at least 2 or 3 players in the first round draft this year. If they have their eyes set on a quarterback. And if Kyler Murray is that guy, like you said, he's younger. He'll give you that 3 to 4 year window minimum at least, right? And then you can go and get your tackle. You can get an offensive weapon. And from all that we know, there's a plethora of defensive guys in this draft that you can get in the mid round. Maybe their target isn't going in that as much as that, that second overall pick is cute. Maybe they're just trying to get the talent to have an effect next year and in the years to come.
that is very true. They could, their guy could just not be in the top, whatever. But like it's so hard for me to believe that they don't take a quarterback in the first round. Whether that's trading down and taking one, trading back in and taking a guy, not one of the top 2 quarterbacks probably. Like I find it so hard to believe that they're going to walk into next year with a unless they trade for like Kyler Murray or somebody like that, a quarterback room of DTR, an older bridge guy, whether that's like Flacco or Jameis or Aaron Rodgers. I don't even want to say the K word, Kirk Cousins. I don't even want to say that. But then, like, what you have to have some type of upside oriented quarterback. I think Jalen Milroe is fascinating because he is the upside guy of the draft, and he won't go in the first round. But they got like they have to. I'll backtrack a little bit. They have to take a quarterback with one of their first two picks, whenever that is. Two picks. If it's not in the first round, that's fine. But like they have to do it. They have to. They can't walk in next year without a rookie quarterback. They can't do it.
Is this a possibility? Which obviously the money would, I don't know how the money would work. That would probably get worked out in trade. But like, could Dak Prescott maybe be a target?
I thought about it.
Because prime time, we know the relationship there in Dallas, the big lights, the money, everything that comes around it. Jerry's world, you get your guy, and you know how that works out. And I mean, as much as people probably don't like Dak that much here in Cleveland, to say he's not a good quarterback is foolish.
I love that.
And he puts you in win now window, right?
Oh, for sure. Dak is a top 10 quarterback in the league, in my opinion. Like he's a good quarterback, and he's like he he will elevate your team. Like the every single year we've watched the Cowboys play. Obviously, the Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl when we watch them with Dak Prescott, but like if you are a team that needs somebody, a leader to elevate you, somebody who's going to, for the most part, make the right decision, can deliver a ball on pretty much all three levels. Dak Prescott,
Have
first
put
guy.
up numbers on offense.
Yeah, exactly, and he's been there and done that. That's the thing for me. Like, if you're
Yeah.
going to bring in a guy, you have to bring somebody in who's been there and who's done that. Like, I think Kirk Cousins is. I don't know. I think Kirk Cousins is interesting because he kind of has been there and done that. Like he's made the playoffs, but if you watch him play last year, like he is very much physically a shell of his former self, whereas Aaron Rodgers was not a shell of his former self physically. I think it was very, very clear to see that when they were playing. Obviously, Rodgers is decaying and deteriorating a little bit, but he was not. It was not like night and day. Like this is Rodgers physically like moving around in the pocket and scrambling. Like it wasn't a huge difference with that, with driving the ball in tight windows, and Kirk where like he couldn't deliver a ball 15 yards down the field with some zip on it. But like if you want to get somebody like that to step in who has been there and done that, I mean, you got to do
So
it.
as we speak of the Cowboys, a report just comes out from the show reports. The Cowboys trade of Micah Parsons could be a situation to watch after the market jumped to $40 million per. For weeks, the Cowboys have murmured whether they actually want to give Micah a record-breaking contract. If they give Parsons the contract, Dak Prescott's going to get traded.
I don't know. They just restructured his deal, so I don't think so. I think it's more real that Kyler gets traded than Dak because I also do think Jerry Jones would never admit like the Cowboys are out of their window, but I genuinely think with the restructuring of his contract, with Lamb's contract, bringing in Oziggy Zoo, whatever his name is, the defensive tackle who's very good. If Overshown is back next year, like that, to me, that's still a playoff team. That the Cowboys are still a playoff team. They almost made the playoffs last year with Cooper Rush at quarterback. They're still a playoff team. I don't think Jerry's gonna blow it up. But I say that, and the Seahawks were also almost a playoff team last year, and they just completely blew up their offense. So I don't know. How about before we talk about anything else? How about the people at the Myles Garrett protest? How about that? Did it work? Maybe it worked.
I don't. I'm just so blown away. I'm looking at the Cowboys picks. They got 12, 44, and 76. So there could be something there that's entertaining. But I don't know. My mind is set on. I'm gonna believe what Myles said. And if he wants to win now, they already know what quarterback they want. It's not a question about what quarterback they want. It's a matter of when is it going to happen and how are they going to get him. And yeah, just when is that domino going to fall? Because I just don't get the change of heart after you jeopardize your name. Like essentially, he jeopardized his relationship with fans because myself included, I was ready for just to move on. Like if this is what's going to happen, let's just move on so we can focus on what we need to focus on, and that's building for the future. But
Yeah,
the
I agree.
future is now. Like I mean, you give yourself a 6 year window, but Miles had to have heard something other than unless he's going the Deshaun Watson route where it was like, oh, you said how much?
Yeah.
Okay, which then again, Haslam hasn't learned from his mistakes because last time we saw that, we saw how the Watson thing worked out. It didn't work out good.
No. But the thing is, like that to me is a different. It's a different embodiment of a player and a person, to be honest with you. So I don't know that it has some substance to it with the comparison, especially in the monetary aspect. But I don't know. I just wonder what prompted this change of heart because you can say that and it could be the money, which honestly is probably the most likely thing, right? It's probably most likely the money, but I don't know. Was there something else that prompted this? Like maybe again, Max Crosby. I go back to the deal because the financials, but also Max Crosby, who's been on a Raiders team that they played. I believe they made the playoffs once when Crosby was there. They lost to Cincinnati in the first round, and the defense played an incredible game. The offense couldn't score. He is another guy that has been there, hasn't even won a playoff game in Vegas, has said he loved it. He loves the fans, the culture, everything. And now you're Myles Garrett watching him take money and like, yeah, I'm going to embrace this city. I'm going to embrace this team. Maybe the Browns are following suit of the Raiders. I don't know. That would also depend on what they do at quarterback because the Raiders may be informed Max Crosby. They had something up their sleeve with Geno Smith because the Crosby deal came before the Smith trade. I don't know. Like I said, if something happens with the Browns quarterbacks, it's going to happen fast. It's going to happen now. Like it will happen before noon tomorrow if it does.
Does the Cavaliers have a chance winning a championship?
It could. And if you think about it, like outside of the Browns, Cleveland sports are like tremendously up right now. Obviously, the Cavs, the Guards had a great year last year. They're going to be okay this year. They won't be as good, but like Cleveland sports are up right now. The stadium money's coming in, so they can afford to pay Myles Garrett. Like I don't know.
This goes back to everyone says, well, I wish we had Dan Gilbert for our owner. Our owner sucks. Da 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 da. Our owner just is a little too hands-on-y.
Yeah.
But I don't think our owner sucks because again, he's showing you that he is not afraid to put his money where his mouth is. He's going to dish out the bread no matter what. And that is what you want your owner to do. Now, this is why I go back before you got on. I said, maybe this is actually the very first year because you got it with I want to meet with Haslam. And he says, no, go meet with Barry.
Yeah.
Maybe Jimmy's actually stepping back and giving Barry and Stefanski and these guys the reins to be like, figure it out. I'm done. Whatever you need me to sign, I'll sign, and let's get it done. So, I don't know. Maybe it's another growth step.
It very well could be because I think you talk about like the trauma you get as an owner from signing potentially the worst contract in sports history. You got to change your ways, and I don't know where he would feel pressure from within the organization. I mean, people around him, I guess, but like he had to change his ways. I think everybody who's watching right now can all agree that something had to change. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Maybe it was taking a step back because hands-on hasn't worked the past however many years, and Andrew Berry's been very good in the financial aspect, and everybody can probably agree like he has maximized contracts. Actually, we have a video on our land coming out later talking about Jerry Jeudy. To this day, 1 year ago, he traded for Jerry Jeudy. You do that, you get ahead of an extension, and all of a sudden you have a top 20-ish receiver who's under contract, under market value, who's going to give you 1,000 yards. Like, he's been good in that sense, in trading, in negotiating the financial aspects and making sure people stay and are happy. Point with Myles Garrett. But maybe he wanted more power. Andrew Berry wanted more power to take control of this stuff because this has been an ownership thing, especially with Deshaun Watson.
This is kind of crazy. Like you said, the next domino is gonna fall so soon, and it has to because I think you have to know what you want to do in the draft, and I just feel like I just don't understand the timing. I don't understand why everything happened the way that it did. Like, was it the agent suggesting all of this stuff? Was Myles truly done? Like, I don't get how you are so done. It's not like the similarities are there with the Watson thing because Watson took us out of the running, and then all of a sudden he had a change of heart. But Myles Garrett was like literally out of his mouth saying, "I will do whatever it takes to get out of Cleveland."
Yeah,
that just isn't. It's not, the pieces aren't fitting to the puzzle here. So as much as it's a money grab thing, $40 million per is now you don't want to get out of Cleveland. Like you think somebody else wasn't going to pay you. I can't imagine $5 million difference is going to change, have a change of heart, and you wanting to stay.
It's got to be.
And then
There's
someone just said that Lamar did the same thing, but Lamar didn't physically say. Did he say I'll do whatever it takes to get
no.
out? No, he always stood on the stance that I want to be a Raven and I'll do what I can, but he wanted to get paid. Myles Garrett was the complete opposite. He was saying it ain't about the money. I want to win.
Yeah, and I don't know. There has to be something else. There has to be something else. Whether it's a quarterback, whether it's another big trade that's happening. And the reality is the Browns have to make moves before March 12th because they're even farther now down in the salary cap, and they cleared some space with Watson's restructure, but now they're going to be close to even, and you have to be in the positives in terms of your salary cap by I think it's 4 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, sometime on Wednesday. So they're going to have to do something, whether it's releasing, cutting, restructuring. I don't know, though. Like, who? I have a funny feeling they're not going to retain a lot of guys. And when I was looking at the guys that are unrestricted free agents, like, actually, I have it written down somewhere over here. But the only guys that I could think of are Mo Hurst. We talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Elijah Moore is fascinating because he's 24, but I think you could replace him. I think you could. Maybe even in the draft, you could replace him. Jed.
One guy that I think is big is going to be a piece that you could trade or whatever. It comes. I just had him on the podcast. Greg Newsome's going to be thrown around now. That 13 million per is hefty now, right?
Yeah, especially like if they want to go the Travis Hunter route, yes, it could get dicey for the DB room. And it sucks. He's always the guy who's thrown around in the trade conversations, and he has been nothing but positive about it. And obviously, good and bad on the field. Really, for all the DBs, they're not just Greg Newsome, but like good and bad on the field. Some weeks you want to trade him, some weeks you don't. Some weeks you think he's the best player on the field. Like, yeah, again,
Do they like Jackson Dart? Do they actually like Jackson Dart? That's what I'm thinking. Because it's like you had, as a lot of flack as Mary Kay and Tony Grossi gets, they always kind of have a little couple nuggets in there that it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna pay attention to it, but it's like when stuff starts to come together, it's like maybe it makes sense a little bit. Tony Grossi just this past week had that little report saying that they could trade back to 6 and take Dart. If they do go the Dart route, doesn't that have Flacco written on? Like I don't know why I'm so obsessed with Flacco. I think it's just because we know that we've seen him have success. No, I'm looking at the free agency list. Jimmy Garoppolo is not moving the needle for Myles Garrett. I don't care what anyone says. He's not moving the needle.
I honestly don't think Jimmy G's gone either. Like, I think he's going to go back to LA. But yeah, I'm with you.
Carson Wentz is not moving the needle for Deshaun Watson.
Nope.
Or for Myles Garrett. Mac Jones is not moving the needle. Jarrett Stidham, Drew Lock, Marcus Mariota, Jacoby Brissett, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, Sam Darnold. These guys are not moving the needle.
I think Darnold could. I think if you're going to commit yourself to Darnold for 2+ years, which is what he wants too. And here's the other thing. Here's the other aspect that we have not even talked about. If it's Aaron Rodgers, it's probably for a year. He's got a year left. I think we all agree that. We can feel that. Darnold has said multiple times why he's not going back to Minnesota. He wants multiple years. If you're the front office of the Browns, the coaching staff of the Browns, I mean, the reality is if you commit yourself to a multi-year quarterback project, whether that's drafting somebody at 2 or first round or whatever, or Sam Darnold, you're buying yourself more time, more job security. So if they want to go Darnold, they're committing themselves to a 2+ year project. I know they can't afford Darnold. That's the other thing. Somebody would have to go. They'd have to trade, whatever. I also don't think Darnold's going to demand as much as we think he will. But if you go that route, you're committing yourself to a multi-year quarterback project and buying yourself a little more time. I think the ultimate buy time thing is drafting a quarterback at 2, which is what I think they're going to do still. But you could commit yourself to multiple years, which is why I don't think it's going to be Rodgers. Flacco is the interesting one, though. And it's not because he's been there and has had success. It's because, well, that's part of it. Being there and having success is part of it, obviously, because you've seen he can be successful in Stefanski's scheme. But that's a guy who, again, was off the field for so long and then, boom, stepped in and immediately was good. You could potentially sign him for 2 years. You don't know what the future holds for him. And even if he comes in as a backup for that second year or the back year and a half to whoever they want to take, because, again, they need to draft a quarterback. Wherever they do, they need to draft a quarterback this draft. it would be worth it in my opinion.
Now I'm more excited for the draft than I ever been because as much as I just quarterback still makes sense at 2. I'm not disagreeing with you there. I
Yeah.
really am. But you are putting a lot of eggs in your basket if you think that one of these rookies are going to come in here and legitimately give you a shot at the Super Bowl. Now, I'm not talking about playoffs because I think we've seen it in recent years that a rookie could come in and you can turn around a franchise. Like you can turn it around in 1 year with a rookie.
Yeah.
But if his goal is truly the Super Bowl, it just hasn't happened. It doesn't happen,
Yeah.
which leads me to believe that they know what they want. They know who they want. They like and they have and kudos to the front office and these guys for not letting anything leak. But the way that the patience that they've had waiting until the Crosby thing goes down, seeing what Geno Smith ultimately goes for. Because remember, when this first thing came out, you had Denzel Ward saying, "Hey, Geno Smith, maybe if he
Yeah.
became available." Like they know, and Greg Newsom repeated it over and over that they genuinely felt like they were one piece away, and we all know what piece that they were talking about. It's the quarterback position. There is a quarterback on their mind that they think they can make a legitimate push. And I think back to when Joe Flacco went into that locker room and they had that meeting where they were like, it's gonna get special. And then he comes out and throws 2 pick sixes and the rest is history there.
Yeah.
But they thought they legitimately could win a Super Bowl that year.
Yeah, and they just ran into a red hot team. That's what happens. Run into a red hot team in the playoffs, you're going to lose. But I just don't know who it is. I'm with like something has to be there. Whether it's probably quarterback, but something has to be there where you're making another big push for some piece to put you over the top. It's probably a quarterback, but who is it? Like I keep going back to Darnold. Like that's the only guy, him or Aaron Rodgers, who's in the free agent market.
He
That
scares me though, man. But you know what? I guess it would scare me less just because we talked about this last week when we met up and the long shot JJ McCarthy only for the relationship that he has with the front office guys in Minnesota. Maybe they're giving him tea like, look, we don't want to pay Darnold this much, but Darnold can get you over a hump.
yeah,
And maybe that's sitting on their mind. So that could be it. It just Darnold scares me because it's like he's been through team after team after team, and he finally found his ground in what you call it. And we just know. I think it's past trauma. Like us trying to take other people's goods in the quarterback position never really works out. Like
yeah,
it's scary to think about it, man.
yeah. I don't
Especially
know.
when you could have had him.
Yep, they definitely could have had him. Could have drafted him. I also think another interesting thing here is the number one overall pick discussion, like what the Titans think or what the Browns think the Titans will do. Because I mean, the Titans, in my opinion, I don't think will draft a quarterback. But do you run the risk of either them doing that or the Giants leapfrogging you and potentially taking your guys? I think there's a possibility the Browns trade up to number one if they really like somebody. I think that's very real too.
If they trade up to 1, they're going to get Cam Ward.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he is the best quarterback in this draft class. And like you talk about immediate difference maker, it's Cam Ward. That's at least the best shot in my opinion at an immediate difference maker quarterback in this draft. But you know, if they like Shador, the media is all over the place with Shador. Some people are like a week ago, everybody was like, yeah, he's going to be a Cleveland Brown. And then all of a sudden, you have some random guy's mock draft that puts him at the end of the first round. You're like, oh, he's starting to slide in the first round. Like, it's ridiculous. And teams have their own opinions. Remember how everybody, literally everybody, not a soul on this earth, thought the Broncos taking Bo Nix at 10 was a good move. Not a soul on this earth thought that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been great. He's been great and is their guy for the future. I don't doubt that. So, again, another thing where you're looking at a pick where you don't like it or it's not common to the public eye, which if Shador Sanders went at 2 right now, it wouldn't be common to the public eye, or even Dart at 2 or it's trading back to 6 or whatever, wouldn't be common. But I don't know. I think they have to draft a quarterback. It has to be with their first 2 picks. They can't bank on like a Will Howard. If they bank on a Will Howard or a Riley Leonard, then get like let's even say Flacco. Like get Flacco, and then you get a year of Flacco. Let's move to our quarterback we drafted last year, and it's Will Howard. Like that's not going to do anything.
We're gonna know real soon. I think how hands on Haslam is, because I have to take a step back and I have to put on the Jimmy Haslam shoes and understand that he's a business guy.
Yeah.
And you forked over $230 million guaranteed to a quarterback. Now you're forking over $123 million quarterback or non-quarterback. He's gonna have to recoup this money somehow, right?
Yeah.
And who's going to fill the seats more than a guy you've already saw in Joe Flacco who filled the seats? They were giving away Joe Flacco jerseys. You could turn in your jersey and get a Joe Flacco jersey. They went crazy on the playoff run. And prime time, Shedeur Sanders is going to sell no matter if you like him or if you not. There will be jerseys galore with Shedeur Sanders. The publicity that comes with Shedeur Sanders, the new stadium on the horizon. They're playing chess while we're out here trying to play checkers. Like low key, like as much as we don't like it, they're not letting us know their next move.
Yeah. I also, what also could have very much affected this? We didn't talk about this. Joel Bitonio coming back could have played another smaller part in this. Because,
there's something we don't.
There's no shot if they were going to, blow this thing up, trade Denzel Ward or move on from Greg Newsome, that Joel Bitonio would come, and assuming Myles Garrett was going to get traded. There's no way Bitonio would have come back. Not a shot. That wouldn't happen. Myles Garrett seeing that, he's probably like, okay, this is not a rebuild. And I'm sure he's talking to Joel Bitonio and all these guys too. But there's just so many little things. The change of heart, I don't think was one big thing. I think it's human nature just to think it was one big event, but I don't think it was one big event that changed. It was probably a few things. It was the Max Crosby deal. It was the believing in his team. It was Joel Bitonio coming back. Honestly, it was probably the denial of the meeting with Jimmy Haslam and them putting their foot down and saying, no, go talk to Barry. And then Barry's like, we're not trading you. So kudos to Andrew.
Someone just reposted the video of Cam Ward saying that, you think Myles Garrett leaving Cleveland? You think he gonna go? I love it. I'll play it for you real quick.
Close to a read out of Tennessee, Cleveland, and New York. Whichever one draft Cam Ward, that's Myles Garrett going to Cleveland, bro. He not leaving. If they finna get rid of him, yeah, he can request it, but that don't mean he can go.
Maybe Cam Ward is the guy. Because
he's going to get picked number 1 overall, whether that's the Giants, whether that's the Titans, or whether that's the Browns trading up. The Browns want him, they're going to have to move up. There's not a doubt in my mind.
Well, what are you giving up, though? That's the thing. I'm not giving up my first and my second round pick to move up to 1. I'm just not doing it.
That's probably what
that's stupid.
Well, that's the reality they're in, and the reality is also you have the Giants knocking on the door who are they're desperate, and they are willing to do that. So if you feel that strongly about Cam Ward, you got to sack up and either make the trade and believe in it or go another route. Because I think Cam Ward will go 1. I also just think there's an off chance the Titans take him at 1. I don't think that they're going to. I think they're probably going to take Abdul Carter, but there's an off chance that they take him. Now, if you're the Titans, you're looking at the Browns and you're like, okay, they're not going to take Abdul Carter number 2. So if we trade down with the Giants, we're probably going to get him at 3 regardless. Load up, get an extra second round pick or whatever round pick they get. To me, they're going to trade down. Somebody's going to move up. But I think the Browns, if they really want Cam Ward, will feel the pressure to move up. That's the reality of it.
I think another question that we aren't really tackling is what players in this draft give you that, they're going for, who in this draft are the difference makers? Because everyone keeps saying, because I think that 33rd pick is, if you're believing that Cam Ward is going to alter your franchise, fine. I guess we'll just have to live with it. But we're seeing flashes of the past. We're seeing history kind of unfold in front of us again. The Moneyball, the draft day scenario thing. And I'm looking at this second round or the 2017 draft when they went 3 players in the first round. That was such a big draft for us because 2 out of the 3 first round picks smacked.
Yeah.
And this feels like one of those drafts again where you're going to get difference makers in this draft. Like someone's gonna be on this team, and you'd be like, "Damn, they got him. They jumped back. Now we know why they jumped back in the first round to get this guy." Like, I feel like this is such a 2 first round draft year because we haven't had, like you said, we haven't had draft picks in the first round, and we're not. We are 1 season off of 11-6. This team is not a 3-14 football team. It really is not. So there's got to be people in this draft that they are looking at and are like, yeah, this is it. Like maybe Mason Graham is one of those guys. Mason Graham, and then obviously you're gonna. I think offensive tackle is inevitable. I don't think they leave this draft, whether it be the first or the second round. They're taking They're taking an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Is it one of the edges from Georgia?
I really don't know. It's the beautiful thing about the Browns is their defensive line has so much depth that I think they can, like, defensive linemen will fly off the board. Usually it's like mid first to early second to mid second, they'll fly off the board. So you have a defensive line now. Myles Garrett, thank God. Dalvin Tomlinson, Mike Hall. Don't forget Mike Hall, assuming he's back at least decently early in the season. Obo Okoronkwo. You got guys like Isaiah McGuire on the outside. Like, they're gonna have to get a third pass rusher. They moved on from James Houston, and obviously Zadarius Smith is gone. That to me is like a priority, but you can't prioritize it over tackle, like you said, not over quarterback. I think it's right there with running back. My first mock draft I did right when the NFL playoff started. I think I had them taking Shedeur Sanders at 2. I had them trading back in the first round at 28 and taking Omarion Hampton. I think that is still a real thing.
Which I'm not opposed to getting him.
He's a freak. Like, he's really good. I know everybody wants Travion Henderson because he's fast. He's not an every down guy, and they're not going to take a guy who's probably not an every down guy in the early second or trade back into the first, I don't think. But, I mean, later on in the draft, maybe you get him. But to me, Omarion Hampton and Genty, I think Genty's obviously special, but those are the types of guys where you can, again, an impact player to come in. I posted a video yesterday talking about it too, like Dallas, Chicago, and Vegas, who need running backs. Like, they could all get Genty, and immediately they're going to be 2 wins better probably because that's such a big need, and the infrastructure around them is already so good. So I think guys like that. I think obviously the right quarterback is the ultimate difference maker. Mason Graham is a difference maker. I just don't know if the Browns really prioritize him. I want to bring Mo Hurst back. I think we both do, but I think there's a world where he doesn't come back. If that happens, Mason Graham becomes more important.
Well, we got to talk. We got to put ourselves in these guys' shoes. Where I also think, you think about modeling. I mean, we know, like we said, we talked about Minnesota and how he loves their connections up there. He loves Howie Roseman and how he operates. Yeah. And you just witnessed the Philadelphia Eagles dominating Patrick Mahomes without blitzing because of how important the defensive line is.
Yeah.
He may be trying to model what the Eagles are doing.
Yeah.
And if that is the case, what other team that we're not thinking of could we trade back and be like, yeah, we could probably get Mason Graham here? Because I feel like we're jumping to the obvious ones who need quarterback. But does another team have enough draft capital where they pick early in the second round, you stay within the top 10 range, and you could potentially use one of those second round picks again? I'm playing the theory that they're going to trade back in, and you get 3 first round picks, and you bolster the hell out of the defensive line, and then you can take. Like, everyone, you know how everyone was like, well, look at Jalen Hurts. He was a second-round pick. Look at all of the future past guys, minus Patrick Mahomes, of guys that go in. Like, you can get a quarterback in the second round that could take you to the Super Bowl, which might play back into maybe they're going to go the gambling route and see if Jackson Dart can fall into that second round and take Jackson Dart if they really like Dart, because he's been the dark horse of the quarterback position. Is there a team that can give you enough assets that could give you the opportunity to draft high in the second round or move back into the first round?
I got 2 in mind. I'm looking at what they have in the draft, like in terms of their capital right now, though, before I say anything. I was going to say the Jets because I think they want to move up and get a quarterback still. I talked about the real world where they took Cam Ward, traded up. I think that's probably gone now because um, they to me they're going to draft Abdul Carter, but the Titans are. But I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are fascinating because they're picking I think fifth, and then they have a second, 2/3, and 2/4.
Mm.
Fifth, sixth, and seventh, I believe. One, two. No, they have one more than that. 1/5, 2/6, 2 6-round picks, and a 7th-round pick. You got to remember where that new GM is coming from. The ultimate F them picks place, the Rams, right? They've won Super Bowls by saying, "Who cares about the picks? Let's go get our guys." If they love Travis Hunter, that's really the only one I can think of, to be fully honest with you. If they love Hunter, what would probably have to happen is the Titans would have to take Carter #1, then boom, they'd be on the phone with Barry right away at 2. But if they want to do that, and they would trade up to get Hunter, they wouldn't trade up for a quarterback or a receiver, receiver, quote unquote, receiver DB with Hunter. I don't know. They could give the Browns a second, and then maybe
Or, like you said, maybe they jump up to, well, then maybe the Titans are the key piece here and they just keep trading back. So, like, because remember I think it was just a month ago, Trevor Lawrence was being thrown around in trade talks.
yeah,
What if he's
I think that was a load of BS, to be fully honest with you. I don't
Well,
think
what if they like Cam Ward? What if you start fresh? You gave him this big ass contract. You send Jacksonville in the 5th up to move to 1. You get your guy in Cam Ward, right?
Yep.
Now that means the Titans just got a plethora of picks and their quarterback.
Yep.
They're at 5. The Browns could then trade back to 5. They get more picks.
Yeah.
And Tennessee's just kind of like stockpiling picks to set themselves up for the future.
Yeah, and I truly do think Tennessee is inclined to trade down. So, I don't know if they want. The thing is, like, it comes down to who the front office wants. Like, if they want a rookie quarterback, probably Cam Ward. Like I said, we all agree they're probably not going to be picking top whatever they are, top 2, top 5 in the next couple of years, unless they get somebody else's first-round pick who's really bad, which is you're completely rolling the dice on that. You can't bank on that. I think they're going to have to move up to 1 if they want to take their quarterback, because now the Giants and the Titans are like, well, the Giants know, okay, Browns aren't taking Abdul Carter, probably not going to take Travis Hunter. They're going to take quarterback, and they're picking ahead of us. We got to leapfrog them. That's how the Giants are thinking. And the Titans are, again, probably more inclined to trade down now. The Browns want a quarterback, they have to trade up. If they want their quarterback, they have to trade up. But if you want to trade down, again, you have to feel so confidently about some of those guys in the second round that you're like, okay, they can come in and immediately contribute. I also do wonder, like, Myles Garrett, there's no way he's coming back without some type of blueprint for them winning. And I think this goes back to what we talked about like 15 minutes ago. There's no way he's coming back where the Browns are like, there's no way he's coming back to the Cleveland Browns, who have a draft approach of being passive. Like, if you're trading back, you're probably being passive. There's no way he's coming back to a team that's going to be that passive, where they're going to trade back like over half a dozen spots and just stockpile for the future. Because the reality is, Myles Garrett, yes, there for 6 years now, 6 more years total.
Yep, 2030.
He's still got like a couple years of his prime, and he doesn't want to waste that. Again, this goes back. They're gonna get Aaron Rodgers or Sam Darnold. There's another tweet from a Giants insider that said, speaking to people around the league, Aaron Rodgers thing for the Giants hardly seems like a slam dunk. Giants are not the most desirable situation. That's the first time anything negative about Aaron Rodgers to the Giants has ever been said this offseason. So this is, again, another spot where, okay, maybe the Browns are, they get him. It's a package deal with Devontae Adams. How does any Browns fan see those two guys potentially coming in, Myles Garrett coming back, and how do you get upset about that? Like, it's Cedric Tillman. The great mystery of Cedric Tillman in the second half of the last season, who was unlocked by a quarterback who could actually throw the football down the field. Like, I don't know.
Only thing that scares me with A-Rod is what leader are we getting? Like, what? But you know what? This goes into my other theory where we know what type of guy Kevin Stefanski is. I think he needs a big personality quarterback. He needs a guy who can lead in a way. And does he fit that mold, though? I feel like there's mold issues with Aaron Rodgers. It's not the play on the field. I think we all know Aaron Rodgers can deliver. it's does his mold fit with the philosophy of what they've built and what they're looking for? I think is the bigger question. But like you said, it's hard to turn down a package deal with two of the best players in this past decade and be like, yeah, we're not gonna win with this. Like, we're pretty set up, and it's not like he can't play in the cold. He played in Green Bay his entire career.
Yeah.
He's got a chip on his shoulders. People think that he's already done. We know his ego is massive. Imagine if you win in Cleveland. Oh my God, what that would do for him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think the pieces fit. I just don't know if it's necessarily the style that they're looking for. But I can be convinced either way. I'm not against Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams because like you said, it's a package deal.
Here's the thing with Adams, though. Like, or not Adams, Rodgers. Every negative thing that's ever been said about Aaron Rodgers these past 2 years on the New York Jets has been from the media and not from teammates. You ask any single teammate about Aaron Rodgers, they speak glowingly of him. They love him. They love him. Like Sauce Gardner, I saw tweeted earlier today, like talking about Aaron Rodgers, like he's his friend. They're 20 years apart in age, too. Like, keep that in mind. He has a relatability to people. He's won a Super Bowl. He's consistently won at the highest level. You're bringing a winner into the locker room that's similar to what Joe Flacco did. They each won a Super Bowl. Yeah. Like, you're bringing a winner into the locker room. Something I hate to like be the please Myles Garrett crowd in terms of offseason moves, but like something has to be happening where you believe that you can please Myles Garrett enough to bring him back after all of this.
It's A-Rod.
I think so too. And again, it's so weird that tweet I just saw from Jordan Renan, like the #1 Giants insider, that is the first time I've heard all offseason, yeah, this Rodgers to Giants thing may not be real. Like, that's the first time I've heard it within half an hour, 45 minutes, Myles Garrett thing. That is the first time I've seen anything about it. The timing is weird.
I think he's the only one that can put you in a window. Because, like, wasn't it him that he said, my worst season is other people's career highs? Like, people are looking like he had a down season last year, but if you put his numbers up to other people's, it's like, is this really a down year? Wasn't that him?
The worst, yes. I don't know if he said that, but it's true. It's true. Like, the worst thing to ever happen to the integrity of football is, social media, like people who just do things for clicks, because negativity always sells. Negativity is always going to sell in any world, not just social media. Everybody paints a negative picture of Aaron Rodgers off the field. And I'm not saying it's unwarranted. Like, some of the stuff he does, I question too. I'm not saying that. But you see the negative stuff, and it's all negative off the field stuff. Off the field, off the field, off the field. You look at him on the field. 3-to-1 touchdown interception ratio last year. Top 10 in passing touchdowns. Top 10 in passing yards. Like, he had a good year last year. It wasn't prime MVP back-to-back Aaron Rodgers. Like, that doesn't exist. I don't think at least. It might. Who knows? But every single thing about Aaron Rodgers, and he does it to himself. Like, he puts himself in the media. He creates headlines. It's all negative. And it's off the field stuff. It's never negative on the field stuff. The one, like, glaringly bad game I can think of was the game in London against Minnesota where he threw back-to-back, like, really bad picks. And then he still let it come back in the second half to put them within one possession with the football, a chance to win the game at the end. Like, to me, it is so – you want to trot a quarterback out week one with everything that's available in the trade market, the free agent world. It would be, if Kyler's available, Kyler, I guess, but then Darnold or Rodgers. And I would feel more comfortable. I got to go win a football game. Give me Aaron Rodgers over Sam Darnold for sure.
Dude, Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback. I just tweeted it. That's my guess. I'm going with Aaron Rodgers, bro. I think we looped ourselves around and we didn't really dance with the Aaron Rodgers thing. But as we sit here and just break it down, he is the best quarterback if you want to win within the next 2 years. Because he doesn't have much time. There's still a lot left in his tank. He still throws one of the best footballs in the league. And we know that he can win at the highest level. And the biggest thing, he can play in the damn cold. Cleveland weather is not going to phase him whatsoever.
Yep.
It's Aaron Rodgers, 1,000%.
And if they bring him in the next 72 hours or whatever, they got so much flexibility with that pick, it's not even funny.
Then you can talk about getting real crafty. Like, Travis Hunter almost becomes back on the table.
honestly kind of think he still is just because of how good he is, but I don't think they take him right now. That's why the next really until 12 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, which is when everything really starts, these next 24 hours to see if the Giants trade up or the Browns do anything in terms of cutting somebody, restructuring, or trading. It's going to be huge, 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 huge. All right, I gotta hop off here, Zay, but I will talk to you soon, guys. I appreciate you coming on and talking with us. We'll plenty
Make
of
sure you guys are tapped into Honor the Land for tomorrow. We're going live tomorrow at 3 p.m. So set your clocks. Obviously, we'll have a lot more to talk about. We'll probably recap all this stuff, but we have some big stuff happening, and emphasis on the word big. So make sure you guys are tapped in to the Honor the Land socials because you are not going to want to miss it. I promise you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Zay, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother. I'll see you.
Peace.
All right, guys. I'm gonna get off and make my Aaron Rodgers video. I think Aaron Rodgers is the play. I think we've got convinced that Aaron Rodgers is the play because it makes the most sense. Like, who's moving the needle? Who's moving the needle, bro? And I just, I don't know, man. I don't know how the money would work, and I don't know. I just, this is crazy. We are now in a different space than we were literally 2 hours ago. I'm blown away. I'm actually blown away. So make sure you guys are locked in. Because I'm sure there's going to be another domino effect to fall very soon. And when it does, we'll be live. I'll have it right as it happens. So I'll catch you guys later. And damn. Are we rejoicing? Like, before I get off, what are we? One's in chat if you're happy, Myles sign. 2 if you really don't care. 2. 1 if you're excited. 2 if you wanted them gone. 3 you don't care. Just win. Like, because I mean, this is crazy. This is actually crazy, man. No, we're happy. I'm not. No, we're happy. But it's just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. This is wild. You can't say you're holding him hostage. He signed on the dotted line. Holding him hostage is completely off the table now. But excited for. Look at Jay. Always got something ignorant to say. Where did they get the money from? Out of Jimmy Haslam's pocket. Everybody always wants to worry about the money. I think they're showing you that money is never going to be an issue. They'll figure it out. They will figure it out. No to Rodgers. 1's in chat if you want Aaron Rodgers. 2 if you want to stay away from Aaron Rodgers. Well, it's kind of mixed. It's kind of mixed. Most sent twos are the 11 twos. Not sure how you feel. I think I'm in the not sure how I feel about it just because I have a little bit of questions. But when you put it into perspective, when you actually put it into perspective, Aaron Rodgers makes a lot of sense because you're getting a 2-for-1 deal. You're getting a 2-for-1 deal. If you get Aaron Rodgers, you're probably going to get Adams. You're going to set yourself up for a win now situation. It makes sense. As much as you want to stay away from it, you have to remember, I'm not buying that it was a money grab for Myles. I'm sorry. I'm going to take what he said with his words. There's no way it was just a money grab. They told him something that we don't know. There's something we don't know for him to be like, oh damn, and we went through the list of quarterbacks. A lot of quarterbacks are not going to move that needle. Aaron Rodgers, he may move that needle. He may move that needle. So I'm going to get off live. Stay tuned. And I'll see you guys later. All right? Peace out. Go Myles.